Hello, friends and colleagues. Happy New Year. Vivek and I are back in 2024. A new year. Vivek, Happy New Year. How's everything with you?
Likewise, Happy New Year to you and to the viewers and listeners. Everything's good. It's early in January and there's just 1 inch of snow on the ground. It didn't snow till January, so everything's good.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Happy New Year to all of our listeners and to our audience. And thank you again for following us in 2023. We hope 2024 is a fantastic year for all of you guys, business-wise, but also personally and with a lot of health. Happy to be back. And we've thought it would be appropriate to start the year with a few New Year's resolutions about our business and what we do, and some of the thinking around some of the things that could be important for advertisers. In this case, we're doing a podcast for advertisers. We'll do another one for agencies next, but what advertisers probably should think about going into 2024 and their objectives. Vivek?
Yeah, most people limit their New Year's resolutions to themselves, but we're obnoxious enough to suggest New Year's resolutions for our friends advertisers. So here goes.
Okay, awesome. You want to start with the first one, Vivek?
Yeah, you gave me the most controversial one. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm going to start off 2024 by throwing my first bomb. And here goes. The first New Year's resolution suggestion for advertisers is, you know what? When things go south with the agency, you might want to admit that you or your team might be a part of the problem. Um, Typically, when trouble rears its ugly head with the agency, everyone points at the agency. There's these urgent calls to the president. I'm sure you've received a couple of them in your career. And the marketing director will demand immediate action to fix the problems. And typically, the president of the agency will scramble, try to figure out what's going on, change a couple of people on the business, promise the marketer that he will be deeply involved in the account from now on, and cross his fingers and pray that everything gets fixed. And I don't think that anything is really going to get fixed unless the real problem is uncovered. And the real problem often has something to do with marketer behavior, marketer processes, or just marketer attitude. And unless that's addressed, nothing will change. So those are my 2 cents. Tell us about your experiences. I'm sure you've lived this many, many times.
Look, nothing controversial and nothing that's a bomb as far as I'm concerned. And one of the things that our audience and our followers like about what we talk about is that we talk about things that not normally are spoken of, or aren't as frontal about it. And I think we should speak about it because this is about, what we speak about is about eventually improving and how to do things better. But to the point, when a relationship doesn't go well, it's really important to really go deep on both sides to really figure out where the issues may be. And while agencies are generally quick to put in some fixes that may be, call it, more superficial and more, not related to the real problem. I think it's important that an agency CEO and an advertiser or client CEO or someone at the very top level have the right conversations to really understand where the issues are. And often we find that, and usually when something isn't working, there's usually issues on both sides. So it's important not just to immediately blame the agency, which is what often happens, and the agency will, do a whole bunch of things that not necessarily fix the issue. So be open and be open yourself up to having those kinds of conversations with your agency. And we have seen this before. Relationships improve, and they become more transparent, more honest.
This is not just self-serving in the interest of protecting the agency, because from an advertiser perspective, if they don't fix the problem, the underlying problem, and then they move to the next agency, they're going to run into the same issues. So it's not about the agency, it's in the benefit of the advertiser to do this. But yeah.
Resolution number 2, and I think goes into the same realm as well. So resolution number 2 is about getting your senior client team involved in the actual work. What we're seeing is that often just junior people are running the day-to-day of the agency business. But when it comes time to develop a campaign and to do some very important work, we don't see enough senior client involvement. A great deal of the problems in the work and the delivery or the relationship is caused by the inexperience of the junior folks on both sides, by the way. So again, get your senior people involved. This will lead to better performance and better business results, better ideas, better processes, and a better relationship overall.
Can I share a personal anecdote?
Yeah.
In my 10 years on the client side, and I was in packaged goods brand management, and I started as a trainee and left as a marketing manager. For the first 3 years or so, I was dying to work with the agency and just be the point man and work with the agency. And then for the last 3 years or so of my career, my biggest wish was to be able to delegate the work with the agency so that I could focus on larger strategic issues, right? And I wasn't the exception. I know a lot of marketing people who are just dying to move to the next level and do more important things. And I can understand that, but it's a big mistake, because the truth of the matter is that there is nothing more important than managing the amount of money you have in your marketing budget. And there are very few things that are going to impact your professional success as directly as whatever you do with the marketing budget. So the thought of leaving that in the hands of underlings and inexperienced and junior marketers just doesn't make sense. As a senior marketer, you never want to be uninvolved with the work being done by your agency. It doesn't make any sense. So that's my little anecdote.
Personal anecdote on my side, as an agency CEO, I was always involved in the kickoff of a new relationship. So whenever there was the first, I would say the first major meeting where we talked about bigger objectives. And then once a year, I would show up to what I thought was going to be the most important briefing of a project, and show up and listen, really. And often enough, I was asked by the junior client saying, what are you doing here? And why did you show up? Is there a problem? And and the answer was actually very simple. No, I really want to understand what the project is about. I want to understand how you guys are going to go about it. It's more than just a project, but how are you going to go about it? What are the milestones that we need to achieve to deliver on success? What is it that we want to do to get to our destination? And how can I help you? In the end, it was really about that. So A good thing to get involved, and also on the client side, and a good relationship has a CMO and senior agency leaders talking significantly when those big projects come up, and they get involved and they see them together.
Again, not to be self-serving, we're not defending the agency, but as an advertiser, if you want your agency to do better work, you get involved as a senior marketer and the work will improve. And if you ask the agency, do you want me more involved? They will jump up and clap and say, yes, please.
Yeah.
It'll make their life so much easier. So again, it's a smart business decision for an advertiser to do this.
Number 3. You've been a client, Vivek. What should good advertisers do with their agency
Okay.
during briefing processes and during processes of developing work?
I like to say that you need to give the agency room to roam. And what do I mean by room to roam? You know, the product of an agency is not predictable. There is no way to mandate that the next ad that there's no formula to mandate that the next ad of an agency or the next marketing program that they bring to the table is going to be great. There is a bunch of hit and miss associated with the work of an agency, be it an ad agency or a media agency or digital one. So you got to give them room to experiment. You got to give them room to fail. And the more room they have, the more shots they have at goal, the greater the chance that they're going to come up with some game-changing advertising or strategy that will really impact your business. But to do that, they have to be profitable because the agency is a business as well. So they have to have enough financial leeway to dedicate more resources to your account. And they have to know that if they suggest something and it doesn't work, it won't be held against them and they won't be fired immediately. So you have to build in that room to roam, room to experiment, and the financial wherewithal to be able to dedicate the resources to experiment on the account.
Failure is always failure, Vivek. Failure is also learning. A little kid doesn't understand how hot the fire is until he puts his finger on the flame. But and the same thing goes with the work. You know, not often, but you know, sometimes the agency will not come up with the right campaign at the beginning, and it's okay to say, look, let's restart over again. Let's relook at the brief. Let's let's understand why this isn't right or how we're feeling, etc. That's fair. It's not fair when it happens all the time. It's not fair when there's huge disruption in that sense. Or it's also fair to let the agency go a little bit just beyond the borders of the brief. You know, I think it's a good thing to do that. And allow for, you know, a bit more interpretation of how the brief could look like. So
practical way, a practical way that advertisers might want to do this is in their statement of work, build in an item which you can call, I don't know, experimentation or alternate approaches or something, and actually treat it like a project. And then that'll allow the agency to actually budget some time and effort and resources to that project. And so it's built into the plan, as it were. And that'll give both sides a little room to roam.
For sure, for sure. We'll go to resolution number 4 and the final one. There's many more, by the way, and we'll have other podcasts to discuss many other things. But we thought we'd kick off the year with these 4 resolutions for advertisers. And the fourth one is really about clearly defining your needs as it relates to your objectives in the business. So what we mean by that is that not necessarily that all agencies are the same. Not all agencies can do the work that we need to do. We may need to get specialty help. We may need to get other capabilities and other experiences, either from the same agency or from another agency. If those needs aren't clearly defined, there is a pretty good chance that the agency will not really have the right capabilities and the right vision about what it is that the advertiser needs, and that could lead to a mismatch, and chaos and other things.
I think also advertisers need to be wary of chasing the latest fad. Because I mean, every 3 months there's a new fad. Right now it's AI. Last year or the year before was the metaverse. There's always something, and everyone's hyping it. And there's a lot of people knocking on the advertiser's door saying, 3 years ago the metaverse was the answer to your problems, and now it's artificial intelligence, and tomorrow or even today probably it's blockchain. So you got to be careful and not let yourself follow the latest fad. Define what you need, stick with what you need, and find the proper resources that'll help you deliver what you really need.
Yeah.
If that's not clear, you'll just be throwing stuff against the wall, hoping that something will stick.
So that's our 4 resolutions for advertisers. Look, in the end, what we wish you is what I think you all wish, which is do better work, do great work, do work that's going to help build your business. This is sound advice. A lot of it is back to basics. A lot of it is focused on, tightening up the essence of the relationship. But if you get these things right, a lot of great things can come out of it. And I think, a lot of the day-to-day noise and issues about, how the agency is performing, they'll go away. Things will happen. It won't be perfect, but the underlying relationship will be solid because there's going to be trust between the advertiser and the agency and how we approach the work. And there won't be fear as it relates to, trying new things and really pushing the boundaries.
I think that comment is worth emphasizing. If your agency is fearful, whether it be to present something to you, or they're fearful that they're not going to make any money in your account, then it's just not going to work. You got to eliminate a little bit of the fear. And these suggestions will go a long way to make it to make the team work better. By the way, I have to mention this because people will notice and they'll say, "Oh, this podcast is shorter than the typical podcast." So I just want to go on record and saying one of our New Year's resolutions is to do shorter podcasts. So at least for this one, I think we've nailed it.
Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And we'll every week, Vivek and I will do a podcast about the interesting things about the business. If you have any thoughts, if you have any comments, write to us, suggest ideas. We'll try some new things this year. Hopefully, that will continue to enhance our product and our audience. If you need help finding talent if you need help finding agencies, advertisers, you can give us a ring and have a non-committal conversation with us. agencies look to us also to find talent. We can have non-committal conversation about that as well. Our consultancy is all about delivering better relationships and ultimately delivering better results. Thanks again for joining us. Vivek, have a good one.
You too, and we will see everyone in about a week's time.
Fantastic. Great. Bye.
Bye.